Hello again and welcome. Michael Pizzolla here. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Value Capper Rant. This is a video rant, and the subject of today's rant is the 2016 Louisiana Derby. It's a Grade 2 race, a Kentucky Derby prep race being run as the 10th race at Fairgrounds on March 26th, 2016. Now, I'm speaking to you, I'm making this recording on March 24th, 2 days before. And I'm fortunate. I use the Post Time Daily 2.0. You can see the past performances here. They're available usually a couple of days before the race. Now, that's the good news, is I get to look at the race early. The bad news is I don't have any changes. I don't have scratches. I don't have any changes in weather that I may need to know about, and so forth. So, but for me to get a recording done and get it to you, I have to do it in advance. So here we go. This is the Derby. Now, some people don't even realize that if you want just a thumbnail sketch, a group of selections that are awfully darn good in the Post Time Daily, there are 4 computer programs built in, one for speed, one for pace, one for form, and one for class. And then Post Time Daily 2 makes them into a composite. Are they the end of handicapping? No, I look at them as the beginning of handicapping. But I've talked to a lot of people who have Post Time Daily, don't even know the selections are in there. So in this race, it's got the top 3 morning line favorites. The 1, Gunrunner, the 2, Greenpoint Crusader, and the 6, Motom, as its top 3 choices. And then we look at the 9, Dazzling Gem, and the 11, Forever Amo. And so from these selections, nothing is very surprising. It's the morning line favorites. Now, with the very same file that Post Time Daily uses, Black Magic Ultimate Handicapping software will attempt to make some sense of the race from a value and pace point of view. So I've had 2 requests. I've been sending out rants, and there have been long text emails about the the previous Derby preps. And I've had 2 requests. 1, Michael, please make a video. 2, Michael, please get right to the race and spare the sermon. So no sermon today, just the race. In the view of the Blackmagic software, there are 6 horses above random. So the red line is the random odds because there are 11 horses in the race. So random is 10 to 1. So anything that we give more than 10 to 1 is below random. Does that mean those horses can't win? No. But it means that our handicapping was off if one of them does win, or the numbers were off, or, hey, these are really young 3-year-old colts, and they're, just beginning to feel their oats, no pun intended, and, it's fraught, as most spring races for 3-year-olds, including the Derby, are fraught with that kind of uncertainty. So having said all of that, there are 7 horses. The top one, according to Blam, is Greenpoint Crusader, who is also the fulcrum horse in the race. 9 to 2 on the Blam line. Blam is short for Black Magic handicapper. So the 11 horse is second on the line at 7 to 1. We've got Motom at 8 to 1, and then Candy Boy, Dazzling Gem, Battery at 9 to 1 and 10 to 1. So those are high odds. So even if you were to bet this top horse, Greenpoint Crusader, at 9 to 2, I would be looking for something like 9 to 1 on the horse. Our contention line is 7 to 2, meaning that's what we think the public will do at the race. And the morning line is 7 to 2, so no way I'm going to get 9 to 1. Does that mean that I wouldn't consider the race or the horse? No, of course I would. You have to. It's the fulcrum. And look at the gap between 9 to 2 and 7 to 1. You see that? That's a big gap mathematically. So this is a strong horse in the race. You're going to have a good reason to bet against it. And the good reason is listed right there in the first column that I have, which is layoff. Now, this horse has been on a layoff since January 30th. It's been working out PMM at the Palm Meadows training facility. And why I know this trivia, I don't know, but I do. And it's had, can't really fault it. It's a Bernardini colt. It's had 5 starts, finished second twice, and it's won 2 of them. And, it had a 7th place finish, but that was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Wow, not bad. Second in the Holy Bull last time in January. So a legitimate favorite. One thing I want to point out in analyzing this race and again, see, the fundamentals of the race and pace and numbers and all of that have to be taken in the context of value. But you do need to analyze the pace scenario and the numbers and so forth. And the first thing we notice about the pace scenario is that the software looks at all of the running lines on every horse, matches them up, projects, and says, you know what, this 5 horse, Candy My Boy, might be a lone early horse. To give you an idea of how early it is, down here is acupressure. And it projects it could have as big a lead as it wants. It projects 13 lengths, but obviously no jockey is going to take the horse out 13 lengths at the first call. Realistically, it'll reserve some of that energy so it has more for the remaining part of the race, right? So that is a key thing at which to look. Now, if you notice in the summary screen, the designation of N as in need as in need to lead. What does that mean? If you looked at the past performances on the 5 horse, you will see that in its wins, it has had a clear lead at all the calls. When it has not gotten the lead, it has not won. Now, it came in second after being 4th, so that's not so bad. But its wins have all come being on the lead. In the Risen Star, a race from which 4 or 5 of the colts in this race are coming from, it had a big lead at the first call, which is what I also expect to see in Saturday's Louisiana Derby. So while this 5 horse may not be my candidate for a win bet, I do know that it's going to be I don't know. This horse could stumble and not get out at all. But all things being equal, I would say this horse has a real chance to be on the lead early in the race. So when the software looks at the race, it gives a bit of an advantage on the numbers, the way it weights the numbers, to the early horse. So even with that advantage, it's 4th on the line. Another thing I like to look at, and many of you have written me and said, boy, that was an interesting thing about your track profiles and percentage energy and all of that. Where do you get all of that from? Well, from the results charts. If I go here and look at the track profiles for 9 furlong races at fairgrounds, well, there haven't been any in the last couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go way, way back. And this is nice because I keep them all on my hard drive, and I can let's go back all the way to 2012, for example, and see if we can pick up a few of those past Louisiana Derbies. And as you can see, we have 3 Louisiana Derbies. One thing that's interesting to note, look at the beaten lengths in the first call of the winners. So last year's Louisiana Derby winner was 7 lengths back at the first call, 4.2 lengths back at the second call. The last 3 winners before that were 5, 7, and 12 lengths back, and then 4.7, 2 lengths, and 2.7 lengths back. That's far back. If you look at the Louisiana Derby from 2013, 12 lengths back at the second call. That made a big move to being 2.7 lengths back Now that intrigues me. That's a big middle move. Okay, those of you who are interested in things like turn time, which is good, but I think is a little too overdone. It's just an interesting thing. The 2012 Louisiana Derby, the horse was closer to the lead, also paid 109 to 1. Okay, and you notice the percentage energy is very low. Anything under 50% is a very, very late horse. So the one on March 28th of 2015 was 49.73. And normally I wouldn't use something that old, but I look right down that column and I see a preponderance of really late races. So right away I've got a bit of a conflict, yeah? The conflict is that from a positional point of view, this 5 is going to be winging and could have it all its own way. From what the track seems to be favoring in 9 furlong races, mile and an eighth races at fairgrounds, is a late runner. So I'm going to have to get a really good price. Now, this top horse, has kind of a versatile running style, Greenpoint Crusader. It is the fulcrum. It's at the top of the line. It's got a gap. If it's ready to run, it's going to be a contender. An interesting horse to me is second on the line, Forevamo. Now, Forevamo, in its last couple of races, has made a short close. It's got a win back in October at Delta, where it made quite a nice close. So it's got a closing running style. And if you look over there at its percentage energies, it's got that, 50.86, 51.5. That's a late runner. Okay, now again, good news and bad news. The good news is it favors how the track prefers the race to run. Bad news is they got to catch the 5. And query, can it be close enough to do so? Okay, so in my mind, now I've framed the issue of the race. There are a couple of other prices down here below. Candy My Boy, the front runner, is going to be 15 to 1 morning line, 9 to 1 contention. Dazzling Gem, 12 to 1 morning line and contention, so should be a high price. I don't think there'll be any price on the 2. Now, there are a couple of ways to deal with that. One is, hey, this is a strong horse. It's got a big gap over the field. Yes, I know it's on a layoff, but I don't want to go messing around with anything below because of the gap. And you see there's a little gap line there between the 9 to 2 and 7 to 1. The other way is, well, this second horse, it doesn't look so bad. Now, given all of that, that's why people ask me, what percentage of overlay should I get? Well, it's not an easy question. So always get 50% or always get, 75%. You can't answer that because it's in the context. Now, all things being equal, sure, I'd like to get at least 10 to 1 on this horse. But given the fact that it seems to be a late runner and the race projects positionally that it may be hard to catch this early speed horse, I'm going to want a little more than that. I'm going to want something like 15 to 1, which is 100% overlay to the 7 to 1. Yeah, okay, 14 to 1. But you get the idea. I'm going to need those double digits. Little quick handicapping lesson. You see, it's a reverser, the reversal race 1, and it's also third start after a layoff. So what does that mean? Reverser means it comes out of a race, and the winner of that race, and sometimes it's not the winner, it's the relative winner. So a reversal winner could be second, and the reverser horse could have finished fourth in the race. But in this race, we have the reversal winner, Gunrunner. Troubles me a little bit that the second morning line favorite is below random in my line. It's because it's taking numbers from Churchill Downs, okay? And, it did beat Forevamo, Motom, Candy My Boy, and there are a couple of others. Tom's Ready, Uncle Walter, and Zapparini. A whole bunch of horses coming from the Risen Star, this grade 2. And this was the winner. Now, the one knock that I have against it is it came off a layoff from November to February when the Risen Star was run, gets the lead at the top of the stretch after having been bumped, and then is life and death to hold on. Okay, I don't like that hard of an effort after a layoff. So I think maybe I've got a flaw. And this would lead me to look for a price horse. Now, the 11 horse has had 2 races since being laid off from November. And it's also a reverser. We call those 5-star reversers because they can tend to run well. That interests me, but I'd need to get something like 15-1. Now, Mo Tom is another even deeper closer. Interestingly enough, also 3rd start off of a layoff, and also reversing to the one horse or colt. I think these are half brothers, huh? Forever Mo, out of Uncle Mo, and and then Mo Tom, also out of Uncle Mo. Yeah, these other horses coming out of the same race. It's got another brother, a half brother. Uncle Walter is out of Uncle Mo, so got to take the Mo horses in an exacta box. But here's how I would look at the race. If I got something like 9-1 on Greenpoint Crusader, which I'm never going to get, I might be interested in that. I'd be looking at 15-1 on Forever Mo, and I would say that is a decent value bet. It should be overlooked because, after all, Gunrunner beat it last time. Gunrunner is a much, quote-unquote, classier horse in terms of, it's a graded winner, and, Forever Mo isn't. Now, if this horse or colt gets bet down and it's like bet down to 7-1, which is my odds line, I'm not going to be interested. Would I then go to take Candy Boy? Boy, I don't know. I would need to get 20-1 on that before I'd even look at it. Yes, I know it can be positionally early. On the other hand, the track doesn't seem to like that kind of running. Dazzling Gem, how do you criticize this colt? It's done the things that a champion does. Comes into a maiden, wins. Comes in non-winners 1, wins. That's the way champions start out. Again, I think that if I don't get any, I know I'm not going to get that price on the 2. If I get 15-1 on Forever Mo, I would take it. I would use it with some of the other reversers. I think taking those horses out of the Risen Star would be pretty good to play around with exotics and so forth. And if I don't get my price on Forever Mo, this would be a pass race to me. So the main takeaway from this is I really don't care if this horse wins or loses. It's another bet in a long series of bets. And please don't hear this as me touting the horse and wanting to look clever. I hope what you take away from this is how the fundamentals of the race. And what's the fundamentals of the race? Well, one horse goes out and the other horses try to catch it. Okay. Or several horses go out and then they try to finish to the wire first. Okay. So the fundamentals of this race is that should be the 5 horse going out early. The other horses will try to catch it. That pace scenario. Now we get a little more nuanced with the numbers, pace line selection, and so forth. And we overlay that with the track profile. The track is maybe favoring at 9 furlongs, historically, a late-running horse. Put that all together, we have our odds line, and then we say, you know what? I'm going to need a big overlay to look at this race at all. And the overlay that I would be looking to is Forever Mo to reverse the last race Risen Star and from the one that Gunrunner ran. And that's the lesson. Not whether, as a fan, of course, I'm interested in who wins. As an investor, it's just another investment in a long series of investments. If you stay on the right side of the value equation, you will come out usually to the positive. So there you go. And for those of you who have written me, I stuck just to this race, and you have a little video to watch. I want to thank you all, in all seriousness, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for the positive response to my rants, you writing me back and telling me how much you enjoyed them and how you're doing and the successes some of you are having, which just thrills me no end. If I don't get back to you right away, it's a busy time of year, of course, but usually I do. So, and I say thank you, but I want to say thank you again. Don't forget, those of you who are on the Wizards Forum, that's you have Black Magic, you're on the Wizards Forum, the Series 9 number 2 video is up there for you to watch. It's an hour long. It's got some great things on it. And thank you for your patience as I put the finishing touches on the new Value Capper software, which is coming soon. I know you've heard that, but believe me, I will release no software before it's time. I mean, it really has gotten a lot of research, a lot of work, and a lot of polish, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears has gone into it. I want to release it, and it's going to, I think when you see it, you will say it is more than worth the wait. Well, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much again. And until next time, remember, let the bet make you. I'll talk to you soon.